Hey, Gaybros,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
I'm in San Francisco.
And that's it. I like that
I don't
you're
want
like
to talk
summarizing.
about what part of my couch I'm on.
Say again?
I don't want to talk about what part of my couch I'm on.
I think that you move a bit. Yeah, okay. I feel like you move exactly on the last second for being on the same position that you always are.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, I'm in Chicago, same position too. But I don't make any effort or like any kind of, I don't express any intent of making an effort for a different location. But talking about making an effort, what did we watch this time?
We picked the Oscar-nominated 2022 film White Noise, directed by Noah Baumbach, starring his wife, or his partner anyway, Lady Bird, and wait, she directed
no. Okay, I was going to say it's not Saoirse Ronan.
No, it's not Saoirse Ronan. Why can't I think of the name? She was Frances Ha.
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig, yes. Yeah. And Adam Driver, that we last saw working with Noah Baumbach in Marriage Story.
Yep. And this is strange because it's not a movie about a divorce.
Which is a theme Noah Baumbach likes to explore.
I had to say that for most of the movie, I was like just expecting like some kind of twist that it would end up in a divorce, and that was like the reason why he decided to adapt this story. But maybe no divorces.
This is his childhood fantasy where things might end up okay. We'll find out.
Yeah, but
I do want to call out before you take over that this book is based on a very, very respected novel written in 1980 or published in 1985, I think, and it was written by Don DeLillo.
Yep. And why did you pick this?
I picked this because I'm a big Noah Baumbach fan, and I'm an even bigger Don DeLillo fan, and I didn't start recording last week's podcast before having picked anything else.
Okay,
I really wanted to see this, and I wasn't going to watch it by myself, so.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, as this was your pick, I guess that I had to summarize or try to summarize this.
Good luck.
Yeah. So,
because it's famously an unadaptable novel. People said you couldn't turn this into a film.
Yeah, that was my feeling, but we'll go over that. Basically, the movie follows the life of a family of the two parents married, that they have like a lot of kids from previous marriages, and one in common. I think that they have like the youngest one is in common to them.
Yeah, he says that one's ours. We're each other's four. Yeah,
exactly. The other thing that in the book that's not the case, and they basically follow their American life through multiple acts where weird stuff happens to them and things become like more and more bizarre. The first act, it follows like a train spill, like an accident where there is like a toxic waste on their town that is in Ohio, no?
Yeah.
Where there was like a toxic spill a couple of weeks ago on the same village where this was shot. That is a bit uncanny. And it follows like their adventure of how they have to evacuate their house, and then how Adam Driver gets exposed to the toxic gases, and then he starts thinking that he's going to die, and following like the whole mass hysteria of people evacuating and then just coming back when things clear out, and how there is no real, how do you say, like trusty information about like what is going on. Like things change over and over. There is a lot of noise about like what is the real situation going on, and how they
like the first 18 months of the pandemic condensed into like a day.
Yeah. And then I was like, when I was watching, it's like I cannot believe that this was written like almost 40 years ago, considering what happened like 3 years ago about COVID. Then the second act is after they come back.
One sec, I just looked it up. I swear I saw at least one Oscar nom for this. There is nothing. It is not an Oscar-nominated movie. Go ahead.
I was like a bit surprised. I forgot about like asking that. Then when they come back, like the second act is more like the investigation of like the wife of the main character, like Greta Gerwig. She's taking some pills that they are like some experimental thing stuff. And so it's a bit more about like how Adam Driver tries to figure out the truth about like what is behind, as she's changing her behavior completely. She's becoming like a different person.
I would just correct you in saying the second act really is wondering if she's taking pills.
Okay, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
A bit more about like how to face that fact, how to get to the truth of it. And then we have like the twist that she's getting like this experimental drug that is off the market, some opioid. I mean, I like to think that every single act is like exploring like a different facets of a different aspect of the American reality that is not like the prettiest one, you know.
Sure. You say consumerism isn't always beautiful?
But it looks pretty in supermarkets. Like that plethora, yeah. And then we discovered that she actually was having an affair with
No, it was not an affair.
Well, it was not an affair. She was prostituting herself for just like getting that drug.
Yeah, so she got accepted to this experimental trial, but by the time she got accepted, the trial was canceled. But she tracked down the makers and was like, and he said, if you give me ongoing sexual favors, I'll give you the drug.
Yeah. So Adam Driver, like confronting that fact, he decides like to go to try to murder that person, or you know, like at least threatening him for getting the drugs. We also see like the idea of weapons like a normal thing that people carry around.
Which this kind of is. I mean, especially in Ohio.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. We see also that's funny that Adam Driver is like the biggest expert in the States about Hitler, but he doesn't speak German. That I love that touch. About like you can be an expert about like something on a foreign culture, but you don't even speak the language.
But it's a great source of embarrassment to him.
Oh,
he discusses it. So that little, I don't know if you'd call it a technique or that style, is so wonderful in the book, because when you say that Adam Driver's character works at the city on the hill in all caps, it's like so absurd written on the page, whereas here I felt like you might not understand how farcical it's supposed to be, but it's all so absurd. This is an absurdist film rooted in realism.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I see here, and it's something that, well, I mean, more stuff happens. Let's just say that at the end there is like a happy ending, and it almost like they look back at the end as nothing happened. We see like a supermarket like multiple times along the movie, and the ending, the last scene is basically all of the actors and actresses on the movie just making a musical number on the supermarket.
I'm pretty sure they stole that idea from Slumdog Millionaire.
Was there? I don't remember.
Yeah, they're all in the train station and they start to do the Bollywood thing.
Oh, but that's Bollywood. Come on, that's Bollywood. I had the feeling that this was a bit more of a parody of how the supermarket with the consumerism was like a bit of the centerpiece that it has always been present there. And then it's like, hey, this is an absurd movie that half of it doesn't really make sense if you take it literally, but let's just make it even more absurd and let's just put everyone to dance here. Did I miss anything important? Because I just feel it's like there are a collection of vignettes.
Cloud, the plume. Yeah. You mentioned that. No, I mean, before we started recording, I actually mentioned to you that I'm glad you had summarized it. And then I backtracked and said, actually, like, the plot itself is pretty straightforward, but the plot isn't the purpose. Like you said, it's all these sideshows and vignettes and absurdism.
Yep.
It really feels, I told my husband, he didn't watch it with me, but he asked if I liked it. And I was like, yeah, it's like if Chuck Palahniuk and,
Wes Anderson.
fuck you. Not him. The guy we like from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Jim Carrey.
And
Charles Kaufman.
Charles
Jim
Kaufman.
Carrey.
It's like an amalgamation of these kind of very quirky directors and Michel Gondry.
Okay, that's fair. But at the same time, there are many, many shots in this movie that they feel straight from Wes Anderson. And even the way that the characters speak.
Bottle Rocket, Wes Anderson, sure.
No, I would even say like Moonrise Kingdom, honestly. Because the thing is that I had the feeling that Noah Baumbach is not going for realism on this. Is that the way that actors speak with each other, like some of the scenes that they're composed, the supermarket doesn't feel real. It's more like a parody of one. Like how colorful and over top is, you know, is that there were like many things. I even went to check out, I didn't read it. So sorry, I'm going to sound like Toni Collette in Knives Out. Is like, so I read a headline about an article where actually Wes Anderson interviewed Noah Baumbach about it, because I actually went online like, just to check about like this sounds like something, you know, after watching it as something that Wes Anderson would have directed.
Okay. But your favorite Wes Anderson film of the last 15 years is
Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay. So the only reason I hesitate saying Wes Anderson is because this is not the fucking Grand Budapest Hotel where it's basically human cartoons.
Yep.
It goes into that like kind of intensely stylized world here and there, sometimes more than others, but yeah, it's just not as... I don't hate that as much as I hate the Grand Budapest Hotel. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. He actually crossed a line, and I understand that it's like also for the Moonrise Kingdom is a bit cartoony, but it's like in this case, like the character, come on, like the scene where Don Cheadle, what is his name? Don Cheadle and Adam Driver, they're doing like a dueling pianos kind of discourse in the university about like comparing Elvis and Hitler. Dude, that feels straight from a Wes Anderson movie.
They're not. Well, yeah.
They're drawing parallelisms.
I see what you're saying. Yes, you are right. It's just not as over the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not so over the top, and that's the reason why I say like French Dispatch, Grand Budapest Hotel is that it's too far, but even like Moonrise Kingdom, even the Tenenbaums, or even Life Aquatic, is that it has that kind of artificiality of what it's doing.
Yeah, I would say probably the role of Tenenbaums is the closest in terms of how committed to the stylized, approach to it is.
Yeah. Overall, I feel like pretty conflicted about this movie, because it's exactly what I told you at the beginning. That is, that I had the feeling that this was a book that was not meant to be adapted into a movie, because the characters are not real. I mean, they're characters, but they're a bit more like vehicles of just like different aspects of the American reality.
Yeah, they're everything in this is a vehicle for an idea, whether it's the college on the hill, whether it's Mr. Gray, whether it's Dylar, which is the medication I find out my wife is taking. Like, it's, while there are literal characters, everything is so abstract. And I know that I've read the book, and I did so before I saw the film, but like walking out of that, I was like, I enjoyed it overall. That's true. But like what this is a novel. It really isn't a movie. And some things are meant to stick in the medium that they were created in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, if you are going to be doing an adaptation like this, you have to be more creative. You cannot take it like as literal as this happened.
Yeah.
Is that you have to be like
in that way of Mulholland Drive, in that I feel like those weren't really characters, it was all about ideas. The ideas are buried more so than in this film, but it's kind of similar in their approach, in my opinion.
No, that's true, but it's like David Lynch knew what he was doing. He had that idea, and he actually just developed it for a script. But it's like in this case, Noah Baumbach, I had the feeling that he took the book and he was at that too literal in how to adapt it into a movie.
I did surprisingly find myself wishing it was a little bit more like Bardo. Like committing to the absurdism, right? Like, that's not a complaint I have, but I was like, yeah, let's see how weird it can get. I don't know.
So you have appreciated if it was like more Wes Anderson Grand Budapest Hotel?
Let me say this was a great benchmark to start testing how we can make this better. I have a lot of ideas about how we can make this better.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, overall, but the thing that I actually left, like after watching the movie, I watched it with my boyfriend, and my read at the end, it was like, hey, I didn't hate it, but I feel like pretty conflicted because I can smell that this is based on a good book, on a really good book. But it's weird that it doesn't translate to the medium at all. And it's like, I actually bought the book, I told you. It was just weird to me about like, how come I can appreciate that there is like a source material behind this that is so good when the movie, I don't think that is that good.
But isn't, I mean, to some extent, that's the fun of storytelling, right? Like you could go see Madame Butterfly tonight and it'll be completely different than if you see Madame Butterfly maybe you see it in a different country 5 years from now. They're going to have an entirely different idea about how to tell the story. And you can still want to see, you can love one version of the same story and still want to see another version of it.
That part is fair, but you are comparing a live production of an opera.
Okay, let's talk about 12 Angry Men. It was still fun to watch 12 like we like to watch the same movies remade over and over again. To prove this point, I'd ask you, how many of the iterations of Spider-Man did you see?
Okay. Let me just think, because I think that there is like some nuance on this case, you know, is that it's true that you can adapt like multiple times and you can appreciate that the source material is going to be good. But if you go to watch a Spider-Man movie, is that the value is a bit more straightforward. Is that you know that he's a kid, that he gets powers, and his uncle dies because he doesn't use it responsibly, and then random adventure on top of it. But is that the core is that the core of white noise. If I take the movie in a literal manner, I have no freaking idea about what it is. If you take it like literally.
Even desperately clawing at any sort of metaphor, I didn't know what the fuck this was about. I don't remember the book that well, and so when I read an interpretation about how this is basically, this interpretation I read said it was about a fear of death and how Americans, particularly in the 80s, which I didn't know was apparently the golden age of malls in America. That's when they happened. Yeah. And so Americans were rushing to self-soothe with consumerism, and apparently that's what the book is a critique of. I didn't get jack shit from the movie. Like, nothing.
Well, because I think that the movie was more concerned into being an adaptation of the source material than transmitting what is the core of that source material. And that's what we're discussing, is that there are like some works that they are better for the medium that they were created originally for. And if you want to adapt it, you have to do like quite a bit of an effort. Or, you know, like probably like just ending up with something like adaptation. That is like at the end, you don't fucking care about who was like the orchid thief.
It's interesting, the relationship between film and, if it exists, whatever medium a story existed in the first place. My thought immediately goes to Dune, because people like the book. There was this discussion about whether it could be made into a movie. David Lynch proved that it probably shouldn't, and then we had the promise of Jodorowsky, but ultimately it wasn't made. And it's like, maybe Dune is just a novel. Not just, maybe it's best as a novel form.
Yeah, not needed to actually just be turned into that. Yeah. In any case, Jodorowsky in Dune was supposed to have happened before David Lynch Dune. I think that it was in the 70s, no? Late 70s.
That would make sense based on the film you and I saw together by Jodorowsky. How do you say it? He's Argentine, right?
Or Chilean, I think. Yeah, Jodorowsky. But that's not a Chilean last name or Spanish.
I was going to say there's no Ja. Jodorowsky.
Jodorowsky. That's how I say it, but I'm not sure if that's like right. You'll ask a Chilean. No, I think that it was like in the 70s, like after how to say the Holy Mountain, when he was starting to be like really popular internationally.
So my favorite book for probably 10 years was by Cormac McCarthy called The Road, which is another book that was adapted that should not have been. Because the book, like, sometimes things are just more powerful inside your head. And I think this is more powerful in your head, where you can take it where your mind wants to, or where you're interested in. Where Noah Baumbach was interested in taking this was not interesting to me very much.
But I think that he tried to take it in all of the directions. You know, instead of being like more focused towards like, hey, you want to do like a reflection around like consumerism and death in the 80s, is that you can do it. There is no problem with that. But then you have to adapt this in a slightly different way. You cannot take it in all of the directions, probably like from the book. You have to be more concise.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think when you have, 600, 800, 1,000 pages to tell a story, that's very different than the 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Well, it's 320 pages. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought this book.
Good point.
I even like check it and it was like, okay, if it's more than 300 pages, I'm not touching this. And when I saw 320, like, maybe. Let's see.
I'm literally looking. I went through a Don DeLillo phase of novels a few years ago, and I was super into it. And I told myself I was ready to read his densest work, and I bought it, and it sat there unread for the last 4 to 5 years. I never even attempted it.
Oh, so you didn't even start it? It's like so intimidating that you don't even want
the
to.
Page count. It's a thick boy. It's a big book.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's completely fair. I had like the same feeling every single time when I see like a very large book. But yeah, I don't know exactly what else to say to this. That it's good that the movie can tell me that the book has to be great, but I wish that the movie was better.
I agree. I wish it had been better. Overall, I still enjoyed it. I'm thrilled that Noah Baumbach took a risk outside of the divorce genre, because I do think he is an interesting storyteller. This was a failed attempt, in my opinion. He should keep exploring different things. And I also really appreciate the fact Netflix took a multi-million-dollar risk on something like this. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting attempt, even if it didn't succeed. I'll just leave it at that.
No, that's completely fair. I agree with that. Should we go over the questions?
Yes, please.
Would you watch it again?
I don't know how to answer this. I'm not opposed. It's not like I'll never watch this again, but I'll probably never seek it out. So probably not.
I'm going exactly with the same reasoning. Is that I will never go out of my way for just looking for this movie. If it's playing on the background, maybe I will watch it again. Maybe I will have the temptation after reading the book if I finish it, but probably not. Would you recommend it?
There are some situations. Yeah, I mean, in a conversation about Don DeLillo, I would be like, it's not great, but check it out. This is what they're trying to make his books into. Yes.
What about, is there any other books from Don DeLillo that were adapted into movies?
I was actually thinking that like 5 minutes ago, and I meant to look it up. I never did.
Oh my God, Cosmopolis is his.
That's a Don DeLillo book. I forgot that.
Okay. You told me that it's a good, and you told me that it was a good movie. No?
It's an interesting movie. It's a Cronenberg film, so there's a lot of problems, and you still want to like watch an hour more.
That's a fair definition of Cronenberg.
I did not read the book. I heard rumors that they were recently just making. Oh, didn't they make Point Omega? I don't recognize any of his other books as movies. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear what you think about the book.
If I ever finish it. So would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would say yes. Not often.
Maybe once every 2 years. I don't think that I would recommend it. It's not that I hated it, but it's like I'm not big sure.
What if your coworker's like, Jose, I heard you like movies. Do you know of any good movies based on a Don DeLillo novel?
But at that point, is that probably there are like what, 2 or 3 options, you know? And probably a good time I will go, like, look, I think that Cosmopolis is good,
but I haven't seen it. All right.
But I haven't seen it. So, I would be like drawing a blank, you know? Or if someone asked me about like white noise, I would be like, no, I don't know if any
Don
good.
That's what I would say. Don Cheadle is fantastic.
I mean, true. I mean, he does a good job, and some of the keys, as there are like a lot of them, most of them they only have like a 5-minute role total of screen time. They're okay, I guess. I feel like Greta Gerwig and Adam Driver, they overact their role. They told him about like, hey, you have to make this like really over the top and really force, and then went a bit too far. That's the reason why I feel is like this is Wes Anderson level.
I would argue that they're better actors than what you saw, and I agree. I think Noah Baumbach was like, hammier, do it more hammy.
Yeah, that was like actually my boyfriend was asking me, he's like, hey, this is like very overact, and he's like, yeah, but I think that's the point. That is like, these 2 are decent actors. They can do way better than this. It's not that they are like mediocre actors that they can only, I'm going to act like this because this is my role. So, but in any case, would you remember it?
I don't know the answer to that. Probably no. I mean, I didn't remember the book. And I liked the book more than this, so no.
Yeah, for me, it's also no. I think that there is a lot of stuff in here, and it's not all of it is not coherent. There is not like a sequence of events that you can actually point like pretty clearly. Is there anything artistic about it?
Is style artistic? Not necessarily. I mean, I have to say no on this one. Nothing jumps to my mind. Maybe the imagination?
I'm going to say with no, because the closest thing that I could say, as you say, like the aesthetics or the style, but once again, is that is a bit of a watered down version from Wes Anderson.
Yep, you're not wrong.
So I don't think that there is anything that I would remember this movie for. Is it a timeless piece?
You know, after I read that interpretation, how it's about consumerism soothing Americans, I thought, if this is really what the film is about, it is absolutely timely and was made 30 years after its time. So I'm going to say timely.
So no, not a timeless piece. For me, as someone that only moved like 12 years ago into this country, I still think that idea of using consumerism as a soothing mechanism in this country, I think that it still applies.
You have close personal friends that you watch do this?
Like buying a lot of stuff for just like dealing with anxiety and other problems? Yes.
Do I do that?
No, I don't think so, at least. But yeah, I mean, I know that, just replace the supermarket with Amazon.
You take that back.
No, dude, it's the same. It's a bit more about like the mediums may have changed, but the idea is still the same.
No, I get that. Yeah.
So, I didn't feel, of course it felt like this is the 80s from an aesthetics perspective, And I had to say that I felt like a bit like personally attacked because they were eating a lot of Pringles. I've never seen like so much like product placement since Stranger Things with the echoes. But here is that you could see like a Pringles can like randomly every 2 scenes.
I wonder if it was actual product placement or more like the Starbucks cup in every single scene of Fight Club.
Yeah, but that was a bit more of a trolling thing, but okay. So from that perspective, I just felt like this is a timeless thing. You know, it's like some of the products is still timeless. Yeah. Would you turn this into a TV show?
If we're just looking at the movie itself, no. But like, I feel like we're connected to what the story is. Maybe there's enough in the book, but like, we're just reviewing the movie. We're not scoring the book. If we're talking about this movie, no, thank you. Please don't turn this into a TV show.
What I was thinking right now is like, if we go to the point of just saying that the characters are vehicles, you know, like for specific situations or for specific aspects, I could see it work as a TV show better for us, just like being more self-contained and detaching from the previous story. Because once like this toxic spill is over, the only thing left is like the guy going to the doctor.
But theoretically, wouldn't you have to have more character development if you spend more time with these characters? And I'm not sure that's sustainable since they're not fully thought out characters.
I think that it would be better even, you know, is that you could actually assume that it's like, oh, the character development already happened in another episode. It's just like repeating the actors. Or
We'll
maybe
buy some character development at the mall later. Don't worry.
Exactly. Or don't even repeat the characters. Like, who cares? It's like, it's another family. It's maybe like the Asian family that they see a couple of times around.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying that it could be like a good result, but I'm just saying that maybe it would work. Maybe. Could this movie, White Noise, have been a short?
I don't think so. I mean, they took us on the journey they wanted to take us on. No, you can't. You couldn't make this into like, I know it's an hour, but let's say 20 minutes. You couldn't turn this into a 20-minute movie. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. You could not even like an hour. How long was this? An hour and a half?
2 hours and I think 16 minutes.
I don't even remember. 2 hours, 16 minutes, yeah. No, I don't know exactly what would you edit down for just turning it into 1 hour, honestly. So, yeah.
It could have been shorter. That's a very different question. Yes. I think I stood up when the credits started rolling, I said, well, they should have cut 40 minutes off that.
I agree with that. Being shorter and being a short, they are like two different things. I mean, in this case, I don't think that it would have been short, but definitely connecting to the next one. If you think that this movie could have been better, yes, it could have been shorter.
It could have had a better adaptation, in my opinion. And I say that not having any real skills to do this myself, but I think they needed to have a better focus on what they wanted to adapt. And I think they needed a different director. This isn't his thing.
Yeah. I really wonder, I wish that we could actually like just peek into another universe where Wes Anderson actually directed this.
See, that would have been more interesting.
I think so, yeah. Because he's good at embracing absurdism.
And highlighting it, like enhancing it.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, as I said earlier, I felt this film could have done with more of that.
Yeah. Should we score?
Yes.
This was your pick. So my score, I mean, I'm cheating a bit because I'm checking like other movies that I score, you know, for just checking how congruent I can be with it. My score, oh my God, yeah, I'm checking some stuff that I gave this score to, and that wouldn't be fair. My score is going to be a 5.5.
Oh, that's exactly my score. I was going back and forth between a 5.25 and a 5.5. And I feel like that's really for exceptional movies.
Sure. I was going between like 5.5 and 6, honestly. And then I was checking some of the movies that I gave a 6, and it's like, this couldn't be fair, honestly. I gave a 6 to All Is Quiet on the Western Front, and I think that is a better movie than this.
See, this film is a 5 to me. It just gets that extra half a point because it attempted to do something different.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Do we have anything else to say about White Noise? It's like, I like that. It's like, let's just define this movie as a guttural noise.
Between 1 and 10, I give this
0.5. 0.5. So for the next one, as is my pick, I wanted to actually like go back to watch more of the work of Wong Kar-wai. And the other day we tried to go to the cinema to watch Chungking Express at the Alamo Drafthouse, and it was sold out. It was the only movie at the Alamo Drafthouse in Chicago that I just opened recently that it was sold out. Oh. So yeah, I was like a bit pissed about like, look, I was going to go to the Alamo Drafthouse. You were forcing me to go, and you are sold out. So now I still want to watch it. So
now I get punished.
So, dude, is this going to be like another situation? Okay. Yes, just making sure. Man, this was fun. Thank you so much for making me watch it. Even if it was not like a great score, I think that you make me discover like Don DeLillo.
You're welcome.
And to all of these people out there, thank you so much for putting up with us.
Wash your hands.
Okay, bye.